DivineLocks new high converting hair offer. Complete review, more information video description link below this video. How my hair nightmare led to the 5 words no mother wants to hear. Mom, you've ruined my wedding. The true story of how my brittle, thinning hair sparked an unforgettable journey to discover the DivineLocks method anyone can use to rejuvenate the thick, healthy and beautiful hair of your youth. It was my daughter's wedding, but everyone was looking at me. My daughter sat 2 chairs over. It was her big day, and even though she was smiling during the speeches, I could see the tears building up in her eyes. She stood when it was her turn to speak, but after only 2 words, she burst out crying and crashed back into her chair sobbing, all because I had made a terrible mistake. My name is Rebecca Armstrong. 2 days before the wedding, I went to the hair salon. I'm no regular at the salon because my hair isn't anything like as thick and beautiful as it used to be. My fine and wispy strands look more like a group of cobwebs year after year. My scalp becomes more visible with every day that goes by, and my straw-like strands are so dry and damaged that I swear they break just by looking at them. Truthfully, I didn't think my head of hair could get worse. I was already so ashamed when I looked at myself in the mirror, and I hated going out in public with my hair down, unless it was winter, and I could wear my beanie hat to cover it up. But this was for my daughter's wedding, the biggest day of her life, so I wanted to look great for her. When I arrived at the hair salon, I was met by a woman in a green blouse. She sat me down in front of the mirror. "What can I do for you?" I told her about my brittle strands that fall out at the slightest touch, and how I needed her to carefully style my hair. This was one of those salons where they spin your chair away from the mirror and go to work. We made small talk and I drank coffee. I was having fun, but not for long, because eventually she spun me back around to face the mirror. "What do you think?" she asked. I tried to reply, but my throat was already tight like it was being gripped by a 300-pound wrestler. I did everything I could to stop myself from bursting into tears. She had totally ruined my hair. It was now so thin you could see through it from my forehead to the top of my skull. The gap in my parting looked worse than it ever had before, and it looked so flat and lifeless on top. "What do you think?" she asked. I tried to reply, but my throat was already tight like it was being gripped by a 300-pound wrestler. I did everything I could to stop myself from bursting into tears. She had totally ruined my hair. It was now so thin you could see through it from my forehead to the top of my skull. The gap in my parting looked worse than it ever had before, and it looked so flat and lifeless on top. So over the next 48 hours I searched desperately for a way to fix it. I tried everything, different hairstyles, filling in the gaps with eyeshadow, thickening shampoo, head wraps, a yogurt and honey concoction. Nothing was good enough. I was so desperate I even considered shaving my head and getting a wig, but I couldn't cut off the small amount of hair I had left, so I had to make the best out of what I had. And as it turned out, my daughter's wedding would become the most mortifying event of my life, especially because of what happened before she began crying, but also start my journey to uncover the DivineLocks method for revitalizing your thick, full and youthful hair. Oh, and just before I tell you the rest of this embarrassing story, you should know the best part about this DivineLocks method. It works for everyone, whether you're 25 or 65, whether your hair nightmare is because of stress, childbirth, your hormone levels or anything else, and no matter whether your hair is straight, curly or tightly coiled. In fact, women across America are now living proof that you can rejuvenate wispy, thinning and damaged hair with the DivineLocks method. I had so much broken hair, but now I'm seeing less shedding, less breakages, and my hair is growing faster than before, thanks to the DivineLocks complex. Laura R. Great news, I got my hair cut today, and the stylist said she could see new hair growth. Lynette S. I love the DivineLocks complex. It has grown my hair in on the sides and the front. I'm excited to have all my hair back. Penny R. Here's what I've been too ashamed to tell anyone until now, even before the speeches. People had been staring at my ruined hair from the very start of the wedding. See, as the mother of the bride, it's tradition to walk down the aisle once everyone has taken their seat. Of course, this meant I had to take off my wedding hat, letting everyone see just how bad the stylist had ruined my hair. It now looked even more fragile and wispy. Each thin strand had become so fine and flat, they literally just hung off my skull, and the bald patches close to my temples were no longer hidden as my hair had been cut too short. So it's no wonder that as soon as I entered the church everyone went silent, not out of respect for the occasion, but a deathly silence. Everyone's eyes were on me as I walked the length of the aisle to my seat in the front row, and it didn't take long before I heard whispers from behind. "Is she sick?" I didn't think she was that old. Someone even suggested I'd ruined my hair on purpose to object to the wedding. I wanted the church pew to swallow me up, to not spend another minute with the attention on me. I prayed that every guest would focus on my beautiful daughter when she entered instead, and they did focus on her, but only until the reception, being sat at the top table, meant everyone could see me and my hair. There was nowhere to hide, but as horrible as I felt, I knew it was worse for my daughter. The day she'd been planning since she was just a kid, her day, and the attention was all on her mother. I felt heartbroken. I couldn't believe I'd let this happen. And when my daughter crashed back down into her chair, unable to make her speech, with her husband wrapping his arms around her, she said the most devastating thing. "Mom, you've ruined my wedding." I swear my heart stopped beating for a moment. I wanted to apologize, to hold her, and make everything better. But when I put my hand on her shoulder, she shrugged me off, pushed me away, and ran out of the reception hall. Her husband and mother-in-law followed right after. I was stood there, all eyes on me once again, having just upstaged my daughter's entire wedding. But I thank God every single day that this isn't where the story ended, because just 24 hours later I'd be on a 5-hour road trip to meet the cosmetologist behind the DivineLocks method. See, I'd taken myself to a secluded corner of the wedding to let the emotion out. When I felt a tap on my shoulder, I wiped my eyes and turned around to see a woman. She must have been the same age as me, but one thing stood out: her hair was incredible. She looked at my puffy eyes, gave me a hug and said, "My name is Carly. I'm the aunt of the husband. I hated seeing you up there like that, but I think I can help." If her hair didn't look so wonderful, I would never have believed what she said next. I'd already tried every trick, remedy and fix you could name, stopped all heat styling, piled on the argan oil, drank at least 2 liters of water daily, used an onion and garlic mask every fortnight. Replaced my cotton pillowcases with silk, only washed my hair once a week, and when I did, I used a deep conditioning mask. Oh, and I never brushed it when it was wet. It was a hair project, and nothing worked. But Carly's hair looked so great that when she told me she could help, I had to ask, how? What she said next blew me away. It would lead me on the kind of journey you only ever see in movies, and ultimately not only restored my full and beautiful hair that now glows, but put me on a mission to help millions of women like you stop the shower shedding, enjoy crazy fast growth, even in your bald spots, and feel totally confident with a thicker head of hair. More information, video description link below this video.